it's 2025 and you want to start a coaching offer. If that's the case, you're watching the right video, because I'm going to break down all the steps that you need to take for you to be able to find an offer that people actually want to buy and people willing to pay high ticket for. The second thing I'm going to go over is how you can actually find clients for that offer, because it's actually the simplest part, finding the clients, ironically. And then the third part I'm going to show you is actually how you can deliver the service so that you can get amazing results for your students, so you never have to worry about referrals or having really good client testimonials and just stuff to showcase to make your coaching offer a lot easier to sell. And this is coming from someone who's scaled clients to multi-six figures in a month. I've done that for 3 people at this point, and I've also scaled a lot of my other clients to multi-six figures in a year. I've coached over 100 coaches, and I've done it for myself as well too. If you want to check that out, there's lots of screenshots out there on my YouTube channel to break it down. Anyways, I don't want to bore you with all of that info. I just want to go over a couple of things here that's going to explain how to start a coaching business. And I want to go in chronological order, because if you don't understand each step on the way, everything's just going to be like super, super difficult for you to conceptualize. So every single step of this process has a reason why. So that's why I urge you guys to watch it all the way to the end. So the first thing I want you to understand is you need to know, who are you trying to sell to? Who are you trying to sell to? You can sell to so many different people when you're doing coaching offers, but there's only one type of ICP that's going to allow you to be able to, number one, charge high ticket, number two, actually have a problem that they're willing to pay for, and number three, not really give you a headache. And there's actually a TAM for it. So there's a total addressable market that you can actually attack, that's going to make sure that you can actually make 5 figures, 6 figures, whatever figures you want to make in a single month. And this is going to tie into everything else when it comes to signing the clients, and also when it comes to, delivering the results for the clients later down the line in this video, which I'm going to explain. So the first thing I like to tell people to do when they want to start their coaching business is write down all the people that you think you could potentially help. Just write down all the ICPs, whether that's like people who are like working jobs, people that, in their 30s, whatever. Write down their, what they do for work, their age, the problems they would have, etc., etc. And what you want to do is you want to do a non-biased analysis of the types of people that you can basically get the best results for. Sometimes we might want to serve some other types of person, but that type of person might not be the person that can actually pay a lot of money. So I want you to kind of just write down your dream avatar, like the type of person that you want to work with, because that's just going to make your life a lot easier, because then all you have to do is just figure out what they're actually struggling with, and now you have something that's in demand that people are willing to pay for. The mistake a lot of people make is they try to make coaching offers just based on what they want to sell. And most of the time, what you want to sell is not actually what people want to buy. And that kind of puts you in a rut where you're not actually able to scale your offer. And then what tends to happen is people don't even want to look at you. And this is going to tie into what I'm about to show you when it comes to actually getting the client. So please pay attention to this part. It's super important, and it's going to explain the whole rest of the video, because if you can understand the niche part, your life just becomes a lot easier, okay? So what do I mean by this? All you have to do is write down all the people that you could potentially help with the coaching offers that you are thinking about launching. Write down everything you need to know about them. I'm going to give you guys a cheat sheet that you guys can use for yourself that's just going to make your ICP analysis a lot easier down below. But for now, just do this exercise with me. Write that down, and then what I would say next time is look at all the problems that they have and then compare. Do a non-biased analysis and you will be fine. And then that's going to give you a couple people that you can potentially sell an offer to, okay? So we're not going to talk about like the actual offer, like the details of everything. Like I'll just show you like an example about the winning offers you can sell, but we're just talking about the people, okay? Once you understand the people, the second thing you need to understand is supply and demand offers, okay? So for example, now that you have these people are going to have problems, and people value certain problems compared to other problems. So for example, if let's say I'm in my 30s, for example, and I need a relationship, I'm going to value that problem extremely highly, because, hey, I'm going to be like, damn, if I'm not in a relationship, how am I going to have kids? How am I going to build a family? How am I going to hit my goals? Whatever. But if I'm going to go after someone that's like 18 or 20, to them, they're just like, yeah, having a girlfriend would be nice, but it's not really a priority for me right now. I want to make money. So people have two different problems. There are problems to those types of people, but one is high priority, one is less priority. So you always want to be solving the problems that are in demand for your specific ICP, because those people are going to be willing to pay you a lot of money for it. So, and it doesn't always have to be money related, because that was like a relationship example. You just have to make sure you're selling to the right person. A lot of the times we have good offers and good problems we're solving, but we're solving it for the wrong person, so we're not actually able to get it. And that's going to tie into how you can actually get the best quality clients, which I will explain later, how you can actually build an acquisition system. It all stems from who are you trying to target, who are you trying to sell to, because if that person is not dialed, nothing else is going to be dialed. That's the first thing, okay? And when you're not solving a problem that's not in demand, and when you're solving a problem that's not in demand, it kind of looks like this. It's just kind of like a flat line where you're trying to just convince people that, hey, this problem that you have is actually bigger than it actually is, which to some people it can work, but most of the time it's not really going to be scalable, because that means you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle. You're always going to be trying to come in here and convince someone to be like this, where like they're willing to spend a lot of money for you. You have to do so much convincing. But if they already know they have the problem and they're just looking for solutions, you just have to convince them that you're the vehicle to help them get there, okay? And when you're coaching, you are basically the vehicle, which I'll explain a little bit later, and how you can actually make sure that you position yourself as the right type of person that's going to make them know that you are the person that's going to solve it for them, okay? So the best way to figure out the offers that are in demand for yourself is ask yourself, if let's say you're coaching for something that you've done yourself, or like something that you think you would have loved to have when you were doing your journey of whatever you were doing, whether you were running an agency, whether you were running like, you know, maybe you had like relationship issues, maybe you had like fitness stuff, whatever problems you had, ask yourself during your journey, whatever you learned, what was the thing that you wish you had? If you had that one thing, if you had that one bit of information, what would that be? What problems did you face? And what problems did you see other people in the ICP have as well too? And what's going to happen is, once you have that list of problems, it's just going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to actually creating solutions and creating arguments for it. And then just from knowing that, you're going to know which one is more painful than the other, depending on who you're selling it to, okay? So just to recap it, find the person that you want to sell to, the ideal person. Ideally, find a problem that they value solving more than anything else. And you can figure that out by just doing simple market research, by asking them what is the biggest problem they have right now with whatever the topic you are trying to solve. And then you just list out those problems, and then boom, you now have an offer that is in demand. So all you just have to do is figure out a mechanism or a system that can solve this problem for them efficiently, that you can do through coaching. So that's how coaching offers just spawn out of nowhere. It's the same thing when you're doing like agency offers, if you guys have done any sort of agency stuff before, or if, let's say, for example, you've done like any sort of like hands-on work, it's the same thing. The only difference is the mechanism of how you're solving it is just through coaching, through talking, through sharing resources, through creating value in your products or whatever. That's the way you're solving this problem, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, when it comes to actually getting clients, this is actually super simple. Like, once you understand who you're trying to target, the client part is like the simplest thing ever, which I'm going to explain a couple of minutes over here. It's not going to be too long, because when it comes to getting clients, I don't really struggle with that. I've done that so many times. We get clients almost daily for some of my offers that I'm on. It's not that difficult, okay? And I'm going to explain why. So once you actually figured out, okay, cool, this is exactly who I want to be selling to, this is what the offer is going to be, whatever, you just have to figure out, okay, cool, how am I going to get these people to pay attention to me? How am I going to get their attention? So there's a couple ways you're going to do it. But the first thing you need to understand is you need to know what bracket are you in. So when it comes to getting your first client, let's say you've never done coaching before, like let's say you haven't really sold, maybe you've sold a couple coaching programs, but you haven't done anything consistent, you're going to be in one of these brackets. Let's say your audience size is like 1,000, 5,000, 5,000 to 25,000, 25,000 plus. These are the brackets I usually see people in when they are trying to, sell coaching offers consistently. So each funnel you're going to use for this types of person is going to be different. So for example, when you're starting out, you have like 0 to 1,000 followers. You don't really have that many people, and you want to do a coaching offer. People say, hey, it's impossible. You need to build a personal brand. You need to have at least 5,000 followers before you can sell any sort of coaching. It's not possible. That's what people say, but that's not true. You just need to do a completely different funnel compared to most people. You need to focus on a funnel that has high touch points and has human interaction with any interested lead. So you need to do the unscalable stuff when you have basically not much to work with. So for example, I'm going to show you an example of a client that basically had around like, I think 2K to like 3,000 followers. They were kind of like within this bracket over here, and they were still able to do 10 to 15K in a month with their coaching offer from complete scratch, just launching a brand new thing that they thought had potential. I'm going to explain how they did it, okay? So this is a high touch point funnel. And just to show you some examples, this is basically the guy who already piffed. He made like a 5K day. This is Waleed, one of the students, had 1.2K day, also had a 1.5K day in pounds. So in USD, I think that's about, it's probably about like 10 or something USD or something. But anyways, I just want to explain. This person doesn't really get that many views. They have 4K on Instagram, and not all of them are like, you know, the ICP that he's looking for. So realistically, he doesn't actually have 4K because his ICP was freelancers, and a lot of people that were following him were just people that were interested in, you know, what he was doing, his personal brand. And as you can see, he doesn't get crazy amount of views. 800 views, 1,000 views, 2,000 views, whatever. So how are you able to pull 15K months? To most people, if let's say he wants to do like a normal program, most people will be like, yeah, you can't really sell anything. You need to get more followers. You need to get more people following you. It doesn't work. But the way he was able to do that is because he did the high touch point funnel. So this is how it works. Basically, you make a funnel where you're giving out a free thing, or you're giving out something that's valuable to the people that you're solving. Ideally, a solution to the problem that they already have. What they do is then once they want to get that information, they have to fill out a form. And that form is basically just going to be like their payment to get that information because it's free. You get their info, they get sent to the page. Most people are not going to really book here because like it's not a lot of people coming in unless it's a really, really good VSL. But in the background, what tends to happen is the leads come in as the actual dials and the phone number comes in. Well, he actually gives them a call, and he basically convinces them to hop on a call, and then he basically just collects the cash from that. Because this is what happens. When people are interested in, like, let's say, on a solution, or they're interested in information, what's going to happen is they'll opt in, but they have like the lowest level of interest. So when you call someone and you try to convince them, what tends to happen is now they have a higher level of interest, because then they're speaking to you, they're getting their questions answered, and then they're like, oh, damn, this actually makes a lot of sense. Because the way that people are going to move, it's like there's like interest level. It's like a ladder, basically. So let's say the ladder, when someone opts in for like a free training, is like lower level interest. And then for them to buy or hop on a call, they need to have like a super high level of interest. For them to do this by themselves is going to take a lot of energy, and a lot of them actually sit in that. And most of the time, when you're getting spammed with hundreds of ads every single day, you're watching hundreds of videos every single day, you're going to be fighting for people to just pay attention to you. You're going to be fighting so hard. So many people struggle with this. So instead of trying to fight with people to pay attention to you, all you just simply have to do is just accelerate the process by having an interaction with them. So when you do call them, when they opt into whatever thing you do, I'm not saying you have to do it for every single lead, but if you're in that situation where you don't have a lot of people following you, this is probably the best funnel to do. When you call them and you have a conversation, you basically just accelerate how quickly they get to the top, because you're having that conversation. They ask you, hey, what about if this happens? Oh, this. What about this? This. And then boom, you just accelerated them, and they're like, damn, I'm actually interested, which would have taken them maybe however many hours they would have had to take it based on how much info they were getting spammed with every day. You've just done that on like a 5 to 10 minute phone conversation. Now they're booked in, and now they're excited for the call, and now you have a lead that could potentially buy. And obviously, when you don't have a lot of people, you need to have these types of things. You need this. So that's why you need to do the unscalable stuff at the start, and then do the scalable stuff later down the line, because you don't really have much to work with. And that's what he did. Obviously, he sat down, did the work, and then boom, that result came just from that, just from having 5 to 10 minute interactions on the phone with people that are already giving him his information. So it's not like you're cold calling anyone. These guys are giving you the info. They're asking you to be called. They know they're going to get called. And then you're just basically having a call with them. They're already interested. They already know you. And then boom, you set them and you book them from there. So that's like the funnel. And that's why it's so simple. You just need to have more interaction. And then as you start going more up the line of followers, the social launch, the mid touch points, you will basically just need to have like scale. You can have the same funnel, but you are allowed to do some stuff that's unscalable. So for example, if you have like 25,000 followers, maybe you're allowed to not really call every single person that opts in, because you are gonna eventually get someone that books in. You can do that, but then that's going to take a lot of time, because you're going to be getting a lot of leads coming in. So like I said, when it comes to client acquisition, it's not going to be difficult. If you guys want to know the exact funnels that I do for specific people that are in these niches or in these ranges, there's going to be a video down below where I actually install client acquisition systems for you. And I install a system that allows you to actually make like 20 to 25K in profit, like consistency for all of your coaching offers. There's just a link, there's a video to just book a call with me. And if you guys want to know how much it costs and whatever it is, everything is just detailed down there. Like it's completely there. Like there's no sales fluff, no hop on the call, anything like that. You can just figure it out, and if you want it, you want it. Okay, so that's there down below for you. Anyways, now we've done the client acquisition part, which, like I said, is the easy part. If you want to get the installations, you can just get them down below. Now what comes into this is delivering the actual service, okay? So you've got the ICP, the people you're selling to. You have the offer, which is basically the thing that you're trying to sell, which is like a collection of just like, hey, these are your problems. This is what I'm going to be able to do for you, and this is how I'm going to present it. Now it just comes to actually delivering the service, so delivering the thing that you're going to be selling to these people. So the way I like to imagine delivering the service is kind of like a road with a bunch of tolls. And each toll basically is like a checkpoint that I need to solve. So let's say, for example, I want to get from, I don't know, let's say I'm from England, I want to go to Germany. I have to go to a bunch of tolls. They're going to ask me a bunch of questions. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be going all over a bunch of obstacles. And I like to think of tolls as inevitable things that people are going to face. Like, they're not things you can avoid. Like, you have to go down that road unless you want to drive on the terrain, which is going to be bumpy, going to have a lot of potholes. You don't want to do that. You're going to have to go through tolls regardless. So the way I like to imagine this is like each toll is going to have something that you will need to be solved. And if you don't have, let's say, I don't know, the certain amount of money or the certain amount of funds or the right information, you're not going to be able to get past the toll, and then you're going to go backwards. So let's say, for example, I have a relationship coaching offer. Let's say the first toll would be figuring out, okay, cool, who do I even want to get with in the first place? I need to get clear on like what I want, who I'm looking for, etc., etc. Once I get through that, you're going to guide me as the passenger in the car, because the client themselves is driving when you're coaching. The client themselves is doing a lot of the work. You're just basically telling them the right path to go through. You're like their sat nav, basically. So once they get to this toll, you're basically going to explain, hey, you need to give them this, 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 and they'll let you through. You do that, and then boom, they get let through. If they were doing it by themselves, the toll's going to be like, nah, you can't go this way, go the other way. Or let's say they see the toll and they're like, you know what, I don't want to go through this toll, flip that, I'm going to go around, and they go through a whole bumpy way that just messes them up, and then they just don't make it. So that's how I like to envision coaching. It's just more like they're driving, you're like their sat nav, and anytime they get to tolls that they're going to inevitably face, which is going to be problems, you give them the solutions, and they basically keep moving to their destination. So you teach them how to, find whatever they're looking for. Now that they know who they're looking for, they need to make sure that they can attract that type of person. Maybe they need to I don't know, clean up their appearance. Maybe they need to look a little nicer. I don't know. Maybe they need to get better perfumes or whatever. They get through this tour, and then 3 would be like actually taking the dates, doing the stuff, whatever. And then boom, they get to the end, and then it's basically just like now you're at your destination, you have your dream well, whatever. And now they have the outcome they paid for. And you basically just guided them through the process, and you basically help them with the inevitable problems that they would face. So that's how I like to see delivering the service. So the way that you're going to make sure you do this efficiently is you map out everything that's going to happen if, let's say, you started from complete scratch. What are the steps that you're going to inevitably need to have stuff with, and you're going to inevitably face? Toll 1, mark them as like tolls. Toll 1, toll 2, toll 3. You can have like 20 different tolls, whatever. The more detailed, the better. You're basically going to show them that roadmap, and that's going to show them that you know exactly what's going to happen, and that builds trust. And when there's trust built up and people see that you actually know what you're talking about, you are going to be able to get the sale. It's not going to be too difficult, because people just want a clear action plan. They want a clear roadmap. They want to know what's going to happen beforehand, and if you can show that you know that by obviously knowing your stuff, you're going to be good to go. So yeah, that's exactly what I would say when it comes to actually starting scaling coaching businesses. Honestly, it's not that difficult. It's just a couple of simple principles, okay? Just to recap it, you need to understand who you're selling to. You need to understand what you're going to be selling by having an offer that is actually in demand. You need to understand what funnels you're going to be using for whatever level you are when it comes to your followers, your audiences, because if you don't have an audience, at least even if it's just 1,000 people, you just need to have people to follow you. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to sell coaching unless you are doing some sort of weird help out and stuff. And then once you actually have that, create a program that has these toll checkpoints that's going to make sure that people can know that you actually know what you're talking about. And obviously, there's a bunch of other stuff that comes into actually building our coaching programs. So what I want to do is I don't want to leave you in the hanging fruit where you're just going to have to figure stuff out yourself. If you want to basically have a system where you can see everything that you would need to do, kind of like these tools I've just described for you for your journey specifically, and you want a custom solution designed for you that's going to allow you to actually get these clients coming to you, because like I said, it's the easiest part, client acquisition. Once you can do that, you pretty much don't have to worry about money again, and you can actually live a profitable life and have income coming in like butter. Okay, so if you want that, there's going to be a link down below. like I said, everything's going to be laid out there. Everything that when it comes to like how it works, the roadmap, the expectation, the timeline, the price, everything's down there. So if you want that, there's going to be a link. You can just check it, and if you don't want it, you don't have to even hop no call. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some insights on how you can start a coaching business in 2025. I hope you're successful with your endeavors, and I'll see you in the next one.